Okay, Chumash for
Tuesday,
page 13. Shlishi, chapter 5, verse 1.
You should know, though, tomorrow is a huge
Yeah.
chapter.
But we're going to send in,
Aliyah.
we'll have to, it's a little bit, it's a repeat of last week, but yeah.
Ready?
Okay. Hashem is saying, Bez, Tzavis b'nei Yisrael, command the children of Israel, V'yishalchu min ha'machaneh, and they shall banish from the camp called Tzuru v'Cholzov those afflicted with tsaras, or those that have a male discharge, a zav, certain disease, and anyone who had contact with a dead person. Rashi, Tzavis b'nei Yisrael, command the children of Israel. Parsha Nemra b'yem shukam Mishkan. This parsha was said on the day the Mishkan was first erected. And 8 sections were said on that day, as stated in the tractate Gittin, chapter Hanizakin. Vishalchum and Amachnet, they shall send out of the camp. There were 3 sections of the camp at the time. Inside the curtains, which is the courtyard, that is considered Machane Shechina. In the courtyard and in is already the Shechina's camp. Chanoyas Talavim Saviv, around that square was the encampment of the Levites. Kamesh Mefurish Biparshas Midar Sinai. Himachna Leviyah. That's the Levites' camp. And from there, further box the 4 sides of the other tribes. Himachna Yisrael. That's called Machna Israel. So the guy with tzaras is kicked out of all of them, unfortunately, until he gets healed from this tzaras. Hazov, the one suffering from a male discharge, is disease discharge, is mutter, is permitted to be in the outer camp, the Machane Yisrael, but he's banished from the 2 inner ones. V'tamel nefesh, the one who touched the dead body, is mutar, is permitted. Af b'shal lavia v'enim meshulach el mishashchina. Yeah, the zav is mutar in the zav can go to the tamel nefesh, the dead body, the contact person. He can go to the middle camp. He just can't go in the innermost camp, the Shechina. All this is expounded by rabbis from the verses in Masechtas Pesachim. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah. Tamel nefesh means literally impure by a soul, which means one who is impure because they touch the bones of a person. Literally means, it's interesting that Tameh means impure from another person. But it says here, the word in Onkelos adds little words to explain, touches the bones, the skeleton of a person, the corpse. I say that Tameh means bones. And the term Tamia we find in Medrash a lot, Adrayanas Shachak Tamia. Hidria may his bones be ground. Interesting. So, well, the footnote 16 is a little deep dive. Whether we like it or not, we're always advanced to the AP class. When we do this advanced placement class. We have no business learning, the fine details of grammar, of Aramaic grammar.
Oh, yes, we do. And they're critical things that enable us to understand.
I'm saying, on my own, I didn't grow up speaking Aramaic properly or reading it properly.
Well,
But that's the beauty of daily study. You pick up a lot of things.
that's right.
Wow.
So here's what it says in footnote 16. The word for bone in Aramaic is garmo. Garmo. In the Gemara, garmo would be a more appropriate word for bones. But Rashi is saying that tmei also means bones. Rashi is translating onkelos because onkelos is Aramaic. Now, but then you have a question: why, if onkelos say the bones of the person, why not say garma? That's the better word, the typical word. It says tmei in Aramaic means the bones of a dead person. That's why it says it here. And he brings here some other points. Why doesn't onkelos go simpler? I mean, we always want to go to the simplest path to interpretation. So the simplest, we say nefesh could mean a dead body. It says elsewhere. Nefesh can mean a dead body. So if nefesh is a dead body, what is from the bones of a dead body? Just dead body. It's good enough because it's not limited to bones. It's if you touch a dead person's fingernail, it's also a problem. Touch their skin. It's not why are you saying he's the bones of a dead body? You have a question?
If you even share the roof with a dead body, you're commenting.
We're not talking about that here. We're talking here in regards to what this term means. The term, that's just the ways you become contacted, contaminated. We're saying here, what's the term? Tamei lenafesh. Someone's impure by touching a nefesh. What's a nefesh? Nefesh
You don't even have
person.
to touch it. You just have to be under the same roof with it. What do you mean?
Agree, but that's a separate.
Completely equivalent. No, it's not separate. It's equivalent.
We're not talking about the mechanism. We're talking about the term. That's a whole different set of laws elsewhere in the Chumash. I'm not arguing. It's just not here.
Right. 2 words.
So we're trying to understand these words. Rashi's words, tamei lenefesh, impure by touching a nefesh. What does that mean? So the super commentaries of Rashi ask, why can't you just translate it? Why did onkelos translate it as tamei, impure? A nefesh means a corpse, a dead person, and there's proofs for that elsewhere. Why does he have to go a little more indirect, a little convoluted? You're impure because the bones of a dead body. Be more inclusive, say the whole body, which you could translate nefesh. They say because it's interesting, because at the time in the Chumash, who were the dead bodies there? There's no dead bodies yet. They were all going to go to.
If it's not the dead body of a Jew, what do you do? It's the same thing.
It's separate laws. No, it's not. It's rabbinic. It's not as I think it's practically. Rabbinically, it's the same, but biblically, it's different. I think I forget the exact. But anyways, the main point of talking back then in the camp right after they left Mount Sinai, the first year or so, there's no dead bodies. What was the only dead body? Dead bodies. It was the tombs of Joseph and the other brothers. They were transporting from Egypt back to Israel. Joseph's sarcophagus, whatever it was, his coffin he was dead for 100 years, 210 years at that point. So that's why it said bones, because they were dealing with bones. Back then, the type of corpse was bones. As it's referred to, the bones of Joseph is a term for those bones that were being transported. So just
I think it even says it rattles.
Right? I think Yehuda's rattled. Yehuda's bones rattled.
Okay.
Anyway, it's just very interesting that this is like in a very kind of more of like a technical word definition Rashi, there's a whole series of logic of why they translate in a very specific, nuanced way. Anyways, I find that interesting.
Ska.
Gimel, mizachar and nekev tishalechu. Both male and female you shall banish. Al mechutz lamachane tishalchum. You shall send them outside the camp. V'lo yitamu es machanehem, and they shall not defile their camps. Asher ani sheichem secham, which I dwell among them. Yeah, they shall not defile their camps that I dwell within them. The children of Israel did so, and they sent them outside the camp. Like Hashem commanded Moshe, so did the children of Israel. They sent out the different levels of banishment, depending on which impurity was at hand. Hey, Vaydaber Hashem, Hashem is saying, Daber b'nei Yisrael, Isha Isha. Speak to the children of Israel, a man or a woman, Kiyasu b'kol chateis adam. When a man or woman commits any of the sins against man, Limomah b'Hashem, to act treacherously against Hashem. The Ashim nefesh, and that person is found guilty. What are we talking about here? The Torah repeats it here, the section of stealing and swearing falsely, which was already stated in Parshat Vayikra, where we said, when we say that someone acts treacherously by denying against their fellow, they owe them an object or the money.
Fifth, right?
Yeah. It's repeated here, the same mitzvah, the same prohibition twice. Why? Because there's two more details that are added here to flesh out the more details of this mitzvah. Detail one is Echad Shekos of Isfadu. The first one is that he writes here, he has to confess in order to be chayiv, obligated for the additional 20%, 25%, I believe. I think it's 25%.
Fifth.
Yeah, but a fifth of the final amount, or the fifth.
What?
There's two ways of calculating a fifth.
Mm.
There's 20% now, or there's 20% of the total after you add the fifth, which means a bigger fifth.
Mm.
For example, $1. What's a fifth of $1? 20 cents. So you add a fifth means make $1.20. Or you could look at the way, I believe this is the correct way. You look at what will be 5 equal parts at the end of this.
Okay.
That would be $1.25, which means a quarter of what exists added on makes it a fifth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. But the main point I'm saying here is that in order to be liable for the fifth, when you try to atone for your swearing falsely, it's only if you confess it. But if Adam come and prove you wrong, you're guilty. You have to bring a carbon. You don't have to bring you don't get to bring the fifth. The second is the laws of if someone steals the property or object or money of a convert who has no relatives, we're going to learn if he has no sons or relatives, then he goes to the kohen who's who's doing the service, the clan of Kohanim doing the service at that time.
Kohanim.
Zion. They confess their sin that they did. They have to pay the principal, as well as a fifth. And then he gives to the one against whom he was guilty. Zion. That for which he is guilty at its outset. This This refers to the principal amount upon which he has sworn falsely. Shar Shamloi, to whom he is culpable. When he is culpable to the one whom he's liable to. But if the man has no kinsman, the man has no kinsman to whom he shall make restitution. Then the debt that to restore to Hashem is given to the kohen. This is besides the atonement ram through which expiation is made for him, atonement is made for him. That man has no relative. Meaning, if the one demanding, the plaintiff, dies, that made him swear, and the guy a year later feels guilty and admits he lied, but the plaintiff is dead, and he has no heirs to return the principal to, then what does he do? ... And he gives it to the kohen. Amru Rabbi say, next page, a rabbi said on this, as I said earlier, who is a person that has no relatives? Everybody's got a relative. If someone doesn't have, child relatives, then they have parents. If the parents are dead, they have siblings. If someone's dead, the siblings' kids, and so on. I mean, if not, you go back a generation. There's always someone back to Jacob. You have some. So here, Jews. So we're talking here a convert who halakhically has no previous relatives. Hashem Mushav, that which is guilty, that what must be repaid. This is the principal and the fifth. Hashem Lakayan, this is for Hashem, for the priest. Knei Hashem and the son of Lakayan Shiva Eisi Mishmar. Hashem has acquired it and given it to the priest that watch. So they have watches, they have turns. Whoever's turn it was, that family gets it. This is besides the atonement ram stated by Yikra that he's required to bring. Tess. Every offering of all the children of Israel's holy things which is brought to the priest shall be his. Every offering of all the children of Israel's holy things which is brought to the kohen shall be his. Okay. Chol Truma. Any selected offering. Rabbi Shmuel said, does one bring Truma to the kohen? Surely he collects at the granaries. He says you bring it to the kohen actually goes around to collect, to ask for the Truma. So the answer is, Ashiyakriv l'kohen here does not mean Truma, it means Bikurim. Bikurim is actually something that you bring, the farmer brings. That you bring to the house of, we say, because we talked about Bikurim partially, you say you bring it to the house of Hashem. We don't know what to do, okay, you bring it, what do you do with it? Let it rot? Talmud Lemer, the first tells you now, it fills in that gap. You bring it to the house of Hashem, you give it to the kohen. The Bikurim are the first fruits. Okay. Yud, v'ish es kadosh avlayu, a man, his holy things belong to him. Ish ashrit l'koyin, whatever the man chooses to give to the koyin, lo'yah shall be his, says Rashi. Ish es kadosh avlayu, a man's holy items will be his. What does it mean? They're not yours. You have to give them to the Kohen Levi, the Truma and the tithes, the Meiser. Mm-hmm. It's yours. Mm-hmm. So here we're adding a detail, Talmud Leimer, that the Kohen can't take it by force. Because let's say there's 10,000 Kohanim. Kohen A is your neighbor. Just say, hey, I get Truma. This guy, my neighbor, is a farmer. I'm going to take what's mine. The Kohen can't demand it. The owner gets to choose which of the 10,000 kohanim he wants to give it to. So that's called toivas hana, the pleasure of the pleasure of who will benefit. You pick your favorite kohen to give to. There's many midrashim on this verse in the Sifri. Midrash Haggadah in Tanchuma says, Ish es kadashav liyu, a man whose holy item shall be his. Mishma akev ma'asreisav enoisan, one who holds back his tithes and does not give them. Then you know what happens? He'll only have 10% left next year. You should have given 10% and kept 90%. You held it back, okay, you'll have 10%. You'll have the tithe only. Isha shitim lakayin, a man who gives the priest, matanis reisla, the gifts are due to him. Lo him will be much money.
Measure for measure.
Measure for measure. If you do give it, you'll get a lot of money.